For decades, Pastor John Hagee was a man of unshakable certainty. His sermons rang with conviction, his voice carried the authority of someone who believed he had the answers. From a small town in Texas, he had risen to lead one of the largest churches in America, shaping the lives of tens of thousands and speaking into some of the most charged religious and political debates of his era. Yet recently, Hagee revealed something that few expected: a quiet, profound vulnerability. Born in Baytown, Texas in 1940, John Hagee grew up in a home steeped in faith. Evenings were filled with scripture, reflection, and the rhythms of a family devoted to God. Those early lessons planted a calling that would guide him through a life of ministry, study, and public influence. He excelled academically, earning degrees in science and education, and ultimately began his pastoral journey in San Antonio. By 1975, he founded Cornerstone Church, a congregation that would grow to more than 22,000 members and reach countless others through radio, television, and advocacy work, including his founding of Christians United for Israel. Throughout his life, Hagee was known not just as a pastor, but as a political and prophetic voice. He spoke boldly on controversial topics, interpreting world events through scripture, taking firm stances on social issues, and weathering public backlash with unrelenting confidence. Yet behind the public persona, personal struggles quietly shaped him. His first marriage ended in divorce, a devastating blow in a conservative context. The judgment from his community was harsh, and his ministry teetered under the weight of scrutiny. But with the support of his second wife, Diana, he rebuilt his life and continued his work, learning resilience, patience, and the complexity of faith along the way. Despite decades of outward certainty, Hagee recently stood before his congregation and admitted something surprising: he didn't have all the answers. "I just kept reading the Bible," he said quietly. "I didn't know what else to do. I kept reading, hoping it would go away." For a man whose authority had long rested on absolute conviction, this was revolutionary. He spoke not of definitive prophecy or moral certainty, but of the mystery at the heart of faith. He acknowledged doubt, embraced the unknown, and invited his congregation to do the same. The moment was both humbling and transformative. Some members were unsettled, having relied on his steady certainty for decades. Others felt a deep sense of connection, realizing that even spiritual leaders wrestle with the same questions they do. Scholars and young ministers noted the significance of his shift, a movement from certainty toward reflection, from absolute answers to the humility of trust. It was a reminder that faith is less about control and more about surrender, less about knowing every detail and more about walking with God even in uncertainty. Hagee's journey is now a story not only of influence and authority, but of transformation. His willingness to embrace doubt, to speak openly of struggle, and to step back from the pedestal of certainty is perhaps the most profound lesson he can offer. At 85, he has shown that faith evolves, that true belief often begins in the willingness to trust the unseen, and that humility may ultimately be the truest expression of devotion. For those who have followed him for years, this revelation is a quiet invitation to question, to reflect, and to accept that the journey of faith is not a straight path of answers, but a lifetime of learning, trusting, and growing.